Hello, hello, hello once again. Nubian King back for you for some more dialogue. How you doing? You all right? Good. Okay. 198 subscribers. Let you be 199, 192 by going ahead and subscribe before we get started. I just want to be real brief on here today because I'm watching and keeping track of what's taking place with this Russia-Ukraine thing, NATO, America, Europe, and these other warmongers, these nations that are actually wanting to go to war. All right, so go ahead and subscribe right quick. Hit that like button, the thumbs up, boom, 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 and then the bell, the notification bell for all settings. So when I do drop the video, you can go ahead and get them. Okay, look, for those of you that really have not been keeping up with this situation, if there's, and I understand some people get overwhelmed with these realities that we experience on planet Earth. And I can understand that. I even met people that do not own a TV, don't listen to any news, and only have a simple transistor radio in their house playing classical music 24/7. So that means in that house, they don't have a clue as to what's taking place outside of their house, across the street, in the neighborhood, in the town, the city, state, country. They don't know around the world. Now, if you're one of those individuals that fall in that category, I would like to just briefly take a moment to suggest to you that if there's ever been a time that you would want to keep track of what's taking place concerning world events, I feel like this is that time, because what I'm seeing in these warmonger nations controlled by a different spirit. These people, it's hard to, it's hard for me to look at them and say, they normal humans and, their leaders and their decision will lead to a better, prosperous, happier day for the people, because I'm not seeing that. It's like if I want to go from, I'm in Ashkelon, Israel. If I want to go to Tel Aviv, I have to leave my house, get on the road, and travel on Highway 4 north. Okay? Now, I can tell you I'm going to get to Tel Aviv, right? Why? Because I'm riding north on Highway 4, and that takes me straight to Tel Aviv. All right? So I'm convinced, you convinced, and everybody else convinced that the Nubian King is going to arrive to Tel Aviv. Why? Because the Nubian King is doing what need to be done to arrive to Tel Aviv. I'm riding on Highway 4. These leaders, same thing, if they wanted to arrive at peace, then they would start the process that would lead them to peace. Just like I started the process to drive to Tel Aviv by getting on Highway 4 and started driving north. And then eventually I get to Tel Aviv. Well, if you sincerely looking for peace, then you would start the process to get to peace. That process was actually started, and the endeavor, the attempt to get on the peace road was derailed by America. And if you don't know, Boris Johnson from Europe, all right, England over there, went to instruct Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, to not meet with Putin to discuss any potential chances of bringing this thing to a peaceful end, so that there would be no more loss of life and loss of physical structure, the building blowing up and all that kind of stuff. Just briefly, I don't want to go into a lot of detail because I've done that before, and as other pertinent things come up, I'll share it with you. But this is not nothing that just started in February. And the mainstream news media is not news media where you go and you hear and you learn and you get updated on news. They're propaganda network, because I'm over here in Israel, and so I'm in between everything. And I have a way that I can extract information that don't get to America. And I know, based upon my research and analysis, that the other side of this war conflict was happening. It's not arriving to the shores of America. Not definitely on the mainstream news media. You would have to be on different networks, okay? But nevertheless, the main thing that I'm looking at is how they have painted Putin and Russia as the villain and Ukraine as the victim by saying that Putin started an unprovoked war. Let me tell you something that I know you don't know. 8 years ago, America went in to train the Ukrainian army specifically to attack and defeat Russia. That army today has been almost decimated by long-range precision strikes by Russia, because Russia know everybody, everything, even the American soldiers that you all don't know about that are in fact in Ukraine, and you've been lied to by your president saying there won't be no American boots on the ground. That's a bold-faced lie. One of the buildings that the NATO forces was utilizing, Putin precisionally hit it. Precision, long range. You know, boom, gone. Y'all don't know about that. Okay? Well, nevertheless, the impetus of this particular quick broadcast is for those of you that have not been keeping up. I want you to, this one time, begin to keep up. But it's two places I would like for you to listen to along with your CNN, so you can see the difference that I'm talking about. CNN is saying one thing, and Redacted on YouTube is saying a total another. Joe Rogan, his podcast, he's actually bringing certain key people in to discuss and lay out detail why this is happening, what's taking place, and all this whole entirely different narrative. And you will see how you're being lied to by your government officials. And they're leading you into a very terrible situation. And currently, it looks like there's no peaceful solution. Why? Because every opportunity they've had to bring a peaceful solution, America derailed it. So that's why I jumped on here to say that this very well could blow into an incredible world war. And the winds is blowing that for once they'll be fighting in America. You'll be in Chicago, New York, Detroit, you hear what I'm saying, Miami, Atlanta, all across America. It could definitely be fighting in that country. And even, and you know, America have so much pride and wherewithal that, you know, so much wind, and they try, oh, that could never happen. We'll blow them, you know. Look, if it do get to that point, you know, one thing, I don't know if you all aware, but China and Russia, streetwise, they road dogs. You know, them two, they gas up the hoopty, ride by. You know what I'm saying? America jump out there talking about fighting Russia. And see, that's why America wanted all these other nations with them in this fiasco, because why? They know what the deal is. It won't be America just fighting Russia. It'll be America fighting Russia, China, and don't forget Kim Jong-un. And see, the American people, they lied to you in order to get your support behind the military doing what they do. And you all don't even know the story. It ain't about saving lives or something. It's never been about a humanitarian effort. A lot of those servicemen and women come back and kill themselves because they are confronted with a reality that they had no earthly idea was real, and that they was not there looking out for the betterment of people. They were actually there protecting the corporate business interests in those foreign countries. Lying, cheating, and stealing. And those young men and women couldn't deal with that. And they came back to a country that they had put themselves in harm's way, lost limb, eyes, hearing, nerve, all type of, sacrifices to come back to a country that would leave them sitting on the side of the road begging for coins to get something to eat. And a lot of those servicemen, they couldn't live with that. Good morning, BB Warman. How you doing? For you, it's good morning. For me, it's 5:09 in the afternoon. But I love you. Welcome to the show. I'm just doing a quick one about the Russian and Ukrainian situation. And basically, for those individuals that have not been keeping up and those individuals that distract their news from CNN, I want to just let you know that this thing, based upon all this other information I'm getting, it's ripe for an all-out hellified war, because they have pushed Putin into a position where they want to fight. They want him to retaliate so they can lie again like they did when they created ISIS. Convince Carter to support Osama bin Laden, knowing that they would, field the army of civilians. And then when they civilians be fighting and protecting their land, Russia would get involved because they, fight each other, and then America could say Russia attacked. And so it's the same situation again, but it's Russia, it's China, and it's North Korea that would be there to decimate America. And due to America's pride, arrogance, lack of humility, this could be a terrible thing. Just off the coast of Alaska, over in Russian territory, we saw Russian warship and Chinese warship cruising together. So that means it's not going to be just America and Russia. And, I know that these nations have been studying war, preparing for war, all while you running back and forth trying to buy the gas that they say, it's high because of Putin. The satellites they've been blasting in space, they ain't all weather satellites looking at the clouds. These people are prepared for war all the way on another level. And they are warring right now before your very eyes. And so my concern is that you don't get caught off guard by a war that could very well wind up on the shores of America. Now, I could easily say, you better prepare. But another point, and I'm going to let you go. While America's talking all these, negative things and feeding your head full of bullshiggity about how terrible and bad Russia off, think about this one point. Russia has bomb shelters, fallout shelters all across Russia, especially in the big main city where the bulk of the people at. Just about many of their buildings have fallout shelters where if the siren go off, people have somewhere to run to. Okay? You saw Ukraine? Those people was down there in the subway. All it would take was 2 or 3 good bombs. They all buried down there in the subway. But Russia has fallout shelter. And while, America is talking all this bullshit about Russia or outdated military and Russian equipment, and we could just bowl over them, and America say, yeah, just let's go get them. America don't even have fallout shelter for the people. For those of you all that's been around long enough and have seen it, you see those signs, yellow and black, round with triangle, fallout shelters, all that over here. That ain't all across America. All these people that you got moving around America, not even aware that if the bombs do get to raining down, you don't have nowhere to run. Up in a building and they bomb it and boom, the building fall on you. So I can say prepare for the worst and hope for the best. But how you gonna prepare for the worst? You got your millionaires and billionaires building incredible fallout bunkers right next to their beautiful mansion. They're preparing. There's a guy over in Europe, their company, that they build luxury bunkers for the wealthy. You know what I'm saying? So they're always looking out for themselves. The leaders, the wealthy, they feel that it's them and us. And this is reality. They not doing something for us, making decisions to screw up everything. Look at this. Boris Johnson definitely went in there to derail any possible peace negotiating with Russia and Ukraine, backed by America. And just briefly, if you don't understand, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, is a conglomeration of European nations, mainly controlled by America, that several of those nations, they do have military and ability to wage war. NATO, right, has been piling up military armament as close as it could to Russia border. Now the thing about Ukraine is right there. And what Putin has said is a red line is that Ukraine become a member of NATO. That means now they're able to, if Ukraine, but currently they're saying no way that Ukraine become a member of NATO. But, you're talking about the greatest liars and tricksters on planet Earth. So you can't take nothing they say as, oh, okay, yeah, what they said. You look up tomorrow morning, Ukraine be a member of NATO, and they study flying in carriers, offloading military equipment. And this is the biggest no-no that Putin has said. He wanted to guarantee that Ukraine would not be a member of NATO, which would give them opportunity to sit their military right on the borders of Russia in order to attack Russia. And Moscow is closer on the west than the east. Okay, but they derailed that, peace effort. Yeah, they did that. And so the senator, one of the senators in America, stood up and said, hey, why don't we just drop a couple of nuclear bombs on Russia? This is what this clown said. And see, that's why I wanted to say something to you all who, you don't keep up with nothing. You all in America have an old leadership of old white people that are very wealthy and been very wealthy for decades. Most of them, almost all of them, big money. And, once you have big money, real money, hundreds of millions of dollars for a period of time, in the beginning, you still be kind of kosher. You still, your thoughts be, well, I don't need that. I'm good. But then after so long, your mind begin to change. You understand? Your arrogancy level push up. And then you begin to feel something special above everybody else. And you start really just going nuts. And then you hit 70, and you've had that kind of money for the past 20, 30 years. You've been very wealthy, able to fly and eat and dress and live and do what you want. The other world don't even exist to you. And don't tell me that your ultra wealthy American politician know what the American people want. They always stand up. The American people, that's not true. They ain't had a conversation with the American people since the man in the moon. Because they get in those positions and they be there until they die. What's that woman named Feinstein? She's 89. What the smoke is anybody 89 years old getting up, going to work with millions of dollars in their pocket? These people ain't broke because they've been up in there tricking and trading and doing all kind of stuff to enrich themselves and leave you out there in the cold on the sidewalk with your cup up trying to get a nickel. But they supposed to be your governmental leaders fighting in D.C. on your behalf. That's what Maxine Waters told all of those homeless brothers and sisters and, people, because they white, Hispanic, black, everybody out there. Those homeless people, that's the best way to say it, because it's a multitude of nationality people, okay? And so she went out there and told them, ain't nobody in D.C. fighting harder on your behalf than me. Then don't look like she fighting too hard because them people is out there. And these are 80, 70, 80, almost 90-year-old people. Feinstein, she 89. She be 90 walking around D.C. And they have this thing where you don't retire out of the position, you die out of the position. But when you get that old, your joints, your blood pressure, your diabetes, your heart, your equilibrium, your energy, all that change. And do you really, at 70, you know what I'm saying, really, really feel like, no, you changed, man. Everything changed. But because you've been in that position for so long and you so padded from the American people, like layers and layers of people. I remember during that January 6th situation, I listened to one of the senators explain that it had to be somebody inside to let these people in and show them where we were at, because we were hiding in the secret unmarked room that no one's supposed to know where they was at, because the room with their nameplates on it was decoy. And they set this in motion specifically for events like this, so that if they had to hide out up there in Capitol Hill or whatnot, they could. And so what he was explaining is that the people that assaulted the Capitol was beating on the door of the secret room that had no markings on it, just a door. And they was beating on the door, calling their name. They knew they was in there. You understand? So the thing that I learned is, why you got to have secret rooms? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you heard that, but did you really hear it? And the thought is, to me, why your government official needs secret rooms to be hiding in? Then, why would you say you do need secret room in case of, right, because you up there doing some bullshiggity that when people find out about your bullshiggity, yeah, you may need to run in that room because you on some bullshiggity. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow. Why would anybody want to attack a good person that's doing good things for people? Even if you haven't done good things for everybody, but everybody know you do good things for people, and they say, okay, that's a good person. We're not gonna bother them because they've done this good for people, and they're always doing nice things for folks. So you get a pass. But they have functioned for so long in those positions that they now see themselves as them and us. They do. Like they ain't. And so, since that's the reality, they didn't see themselves like it's them, we the leaders, we whatever how they think, and those people. Then certainly you can't get a good deal out of that situation because they don't care nothing about us, nothing whatsoever. In this situation between Russia and Ukraine, man, you can't imagine the corruption that's been associated with Ukraine and that president, the Biden family, and the cover-up. Man, it's filthy. I mean, when you start pulling back the things that these people are involved in, the septic tanks smell better than them. The stuff that they involved in. Be mind-boggling. And that brings me to, my last point for you right now. I didn't want this to go no more than 30 minutes. It's like inhumane, unhuman, inhumane, non-human that you see these things are being done. And there's been times that I actually thought to myself, it appears that this world has already been invaded by non-human intellect that now just want to destroy human because they actually want this planet for themselves. We very well could be seeing another whole species that's walking around looking like Bill Gates and talking like Joe Biden, you understand, depopulating the world. And if you look at some of these people, had it ever done to you, they're not attractive people. And they worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Man, I seen people on welfare look better than them. They're on welfare. Like, they get a check once a month. And these people are making billions by the minute, every day. And these conglomeration and gargantuan businesses that they own, and they can't look no better than that. That was a blow under the belt. But good God, some of these billionaires running around the world, they some funny looking people. You ever seen them? I mean, just have you really stopped and looked at them? And it's like, are they really human beings or something else? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like they some terrible individual. How you going to be Jeff Bezos and you walk around with all of that money and people in your business ready to cut your neck? You know what I'm saying? And all they asking for is a little more money, which the money they talking about, it ain't going to mean that Jeff got to go and hawk his yacht he just bought and messed up that people bridge to get it out. I mean, he put it back together, but just the fact they had to disassemble the bridge to get his yacht out. You know what I'm saying? You break out to people a few more dollars with all that stuff you selling on Amazon, in a few seconds you have it all back. They just talking about a couple of dollars, a few dollars here and there. Dude, you already got billions. But I don't know if you all thought about stuff like that, man. It crossed my mind, like, how in the world did we wind up in a situation where a handful of people got all the money, a handful of people got all the material wealth, a handful of people control the whole planet to everybody else's demise? How can you psychologically justify sitting in your house with $167 billion in the bank you don't have to do nothing with, and your business is steady bringing more to you, and you got 40,000 people sleeping in the streets in one city of America, and you got that kind of cash in your pocket that, you know, you could go out there in LA and you know, you don't have to be in LA. You can be outside, way out, because people just want somewhere to stay and, you know, be okay. You could go out somewhere, get you some, buy you some cheap land, like Bill Gates done bought up all the land in America, and between him and the government, they two of the largest landowners in America. The Chinese buying land. And these people are still out there in the street, and all this is whooshing right by them. And nobody think about these people. Don't nobody care. And it would be super duper uber easy for them to go somewhere out in California, purchase some land, and if the government wanted to do it, they could work a piece that, you know, I mean, it's all kind of things that I don't even know about, you don't even know about, as how they can help those people if they wanted to help the people. But they don't want to. They want to steal more money and tell you they need to send more money to Ukraine. But you know what I'm saying? Buy some land, build some decent structures, houses out there. And you know, you talking about 40,000 people, and Bill Gates was saying that every day there's 1 million job open in the tech industry that they can't fill because they don't have the people with the training. Well, you got 40,000 out of there. I'm pretty sure out of them 40,000, you probably come up with 20, 30,000 people that you could train them for those positions. But they don't want to do that. You know, yeah. You know, he'd rather stand up and say we need to kill them because they're useless eaters. And so that's why I say to you better pay attention, because, man, we dealing with another whole energy now. These people, they not interested in peace. And so I'm just coming here to tell you, you need to pay attention this time so that this thing don't sneak up and bite you in the butt and you be running around talking about what's happening. And I'm telling you, just the other day, you know, something took place here in Israel, and one of the brothers asked me what's happening. I didn't even have time to explain it to him, because we had to get our boogie on. And in the process of moving, that ain't the time to catch up. If I run, only thing you do is run. Don't even ask why, because I ain't even trying to tell you. You should have been keeping up. You understand? I know all that stuff. Well, right now, you ain't in them peaceful days where you can afford to not to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Because this ain't Disney World being expanded in Florida. These bandits could literally set this world ablaze, and you don't know why it's burning. That's all I want to say. 33 minutes is long enough for you. You need to really consider keeping up. I done told you, listen to Redacted. They're a real good husband and wife team, and they be getting this information, they research, they bring the key people in and saying things that you never going to hear on mainstream news, and they be bringing the proof, the documentation, the key people involved in these things, that they can break it down to you and show you, hey, we being played real bad. And they don't want peace. They want to go to war, and they're going to send your children out there to fight and die. Nubian King for you, just because I love you a whole lot. I love you from the basement of my heart, way up there to the attic of my mind. And how much do I love you? Shit, I love you 24/7. That means I love you all the time. I enjoy having you. Hey, don't forget to subscribe if you didn't do it. You enjoyed the little dialogue, 35 minutes. Go on and hit the subscribe button. Go on and hit the like button and the bell, so when I put these up, you can be notified, okay? And I appreciate you. Love you. Take care. Shalom.